Okay, my name is Iabla Essa Bateh. My mother's name is Sarah Jaber, and my father's name is Hanna Ziada Farhat. And I lived in Ramallah till I was 15 years old. My father came to the United States as a young man, became an American citizen, and we were all born American citizens. And so when before our 16th birthday, we had to leave the country so we won't lose our citizenship. Now, my father, let me go back. My father, when he came back after he became an American citizen, he got married and they had 3 children, and my mother was expecting me. And so my father wanted to come back to the United States. He couldn't bring my mother with her expecting a child. So he said, I'll go to the United States and I'll establish a home for the family. And after the baby is born, I will bring you to the United States. Well, World War II started. They couldn't leave here and nobody could come to the United States. So the first time I met my father when I was 9 years old. I never knew my father. Long time ago, there were no pictures and hard to get mail. So my mother, for 9 years, she took care of us 3 children. I go back. Their firstborn was a daughter, and she passed away as an infant. So my mother took care of all 3 of us, and my father will send money whenever he can. But when he came to Ramallah, my favorite memory, they go to the Ilya in Ramallah, the meeting place. So they took us in there. All the men came from Ramallah, and they sat them there, and they make the minsa for them. And they took me in there and they said, choose your father. Well, I never met my father. Who's my father? There's no pictures. So anyway, that was a good memory for me. First time to meet my father. Yeah, that's...
Did you pick?
Yeah, I did pick him. Yeah,
You
I did. Well, they kind of guided me to him. They kind of guided me to him.
What was your feeling like when you left Ramallah? My feeling when I left
My feeling when I left Ramallah was very sad feeling, because to start with, there was the war in 1948, and we stayed in Ramallah till 52. So there was always bombing and always people getting killed. And then the refugees came from different cities, from Jaffa, Haifa, Lid, Ramle, and we had to give up our home upstairs. We had a huge home, which is the Syria now. And the building, it's a big home. So we gave up the upstairs and we all went downstairs and stayed there. So life wasn't very easy. And my father couldn't leave because his mother was close to 95 years old. And he stayed there and lost his citizenship. But after they decided to come to this country, he had to reapply and get his citizenship after his mother passed away. So it was really sad to leave your hometown, leave your school friends, but we made it, we had to. So I came to the United States in 1952, and I flew from Kalandia Airport to Beirut, Lebanon. And from Beirut, Lebanon, I flew to New York. My cousin, Farhat Ziade, God rest his soul, met me there. And I lived with him till August. He brought me to Jacksonville because we were planning to get married. And I got married in 1952 and lived here the rest till now. As a young woman coming to the United States and getting married at a young age, it wasn't easy. But the people around me kind of helped me. I didn't have my mother or father or sister or brother here because they left before me and they lived in different cities. So it was kind of hard for a 15-year-old, not quite 16, to get married and live with a family, which I knew the family, but it's still not having your own mother around. It was hard, but we managed. We managed. With the people, we help each other. Yeah, families help each other. I have 4 children, 3 boys and a daughter. My daughter is married to Sam Khalil. My other 3 children, Freddie is the oldest. He's got 3 girls and 2 grandchildren. Frida, she's got 3 children. And Sammy got 3 children. And Sandy got 3 children. So I have 12 grandchildren and I have 9 great grandchildren. So I'm blessed. In Jacksonville, most everybody is educated. Let me start with my family. My daughter's children, first one is a judge, Michelle. Scott is a lawyer. Denise is a doctor. Now take my son, Freddie. He's an engineer, chemical engineer. His 3 girls, 2 are school teachers, and 1 is in the health. She works in a nursing home. She's a dietitian. And then take my son, Sammy, his 3 children. 2 are engineers, and 1 is a dietitian. And then Sandy's children, his daughter is a pharmacist, his other daughter is an accountant, and his son is a lawyer. So every family in Jacksonville, they strive, they work hard to educate their children, and we're very proud of them. They're all successful and they're all educated, and that's why the older people work so hard, not for themselves, but to educate their children. And we're very proud of all of them. After my last child went to the university, I said I needed to do something. I needed to study and see how school is here. So I go to the junior college, and I never forget. There's a professor there. His name is Dr. Seitner. And I went in there and I said, I want to join your class. He teaches math and he teaches real estate. So I said, listen, I didn't finish high school. What's a prerequisite for me? What to do? He said, just determination. I said, that I have. I have determination. So I joined his class. He accepted me in his class. So anyway, long time ago, there was calculators. So I would take, when he has a test, I would take 3 calculators with me to make sure that I pass. All the kids in my class were a lot younger than me, of course. So he said, I will post the grades on the window. So, okay, 8 o'clock at night, I go to my husband. I said, Essa, we need to drive. It was about, I would say, 5 miles away from the house. We need to drive there at night, and I need to look and see, because if I failed, I'm not going back to the class. So I would take the flashlight and look at the window, and I made a 98. I said, good, tomorrow I can go to class. So it takes determination. And, it makes a good example for our kids to see, their parents determined. So we learn now from our children. Yes, I watched in 1948, 49, I watched people die. We watched the war. In fact, one night, they bombed our house. Okay, the whole attic fell down. The windows all broke down. So they rushed us down to the basement. You know, if you've been in the Syria, you know, the downstairs. It was very, very sad. And it's still sad there to see how people live, how they're always in fear, how there is war. So I pray that peace, they get peace in Ramallah, so it'll go back to the same Ramallah, which is, I think, it's a dream. It will never go back to the same Ramallah that we lived in. But I went back to Ramallah, I would say about 7 times now. The first time I went back, it was a shock. I went with my late mother and late father, and I loved the visit. And if I get a chance, I would go back every year. Even though it's different, but you go to our home, which I still call it my home, the Sirriya, and you walk in it and you remember, you know, life there. It was very nice, and we hope and pray that it comes back the way it was, which is a dream.